The barren will call the womb a casket. Only able to carry their own weight to term, the land will crack open, and the Sabinyo fault spread to allow the Lotoko sip to the lips of the ancestors. Let them know that this moonshine recipe is not foreign to the children of the straw. Nyirangongo will spit fire in protest, but the white of the Atlantic will swallow her whole. How many children of the straw can swim? Will they bend or break at every whim? Will they sink like precious stone? For the white of the Atlantic to sweep them up, it has an eye for precious stone and a belly for sinking. So the children of the straw will give up their limbs as a burnt offering, remove the gravel from the prayer mat, holding onto their affliction to warrant an apology, to confirm their existence. But memories of their presence still linger, so the winds will not quiet, the Sabinyo faults will still open, Nyirangongo will still spit fire. But the children of the straw will be children no more.
You're born. You learn how to survive the world, and then you die. You're born and you learn how to survive the world, and then you die. But first it will celebrate your coming, the innocent one. It'll hold you closely cheek to chest, and it'll never let you know that the wages of sins are paid in checks by corrupt politicians using your existence for their game of chess. And these are the lives and the times of the economically oppressed. Barely landing on your feet, barely surviving apartheid, and barely escaping that inescapable fate that frustrates even the purest of comrades, where brothers sell sisters for a chance at posting filtered pictures captioned with scriptures. God help those who help themselves. And these deep thinkers who spend their years in bookshelves will look to these manipulators as victors, as they constantly find themselves at a crossroad, a crucial point in which a decision that must be made that will have far-reaching consequences. You wake up to the realization that you spend your days in street corners begging for jobs, and the sun beats its rays into you, and your trusted crate digs its way into you while you're waiting to be surveyed on the auction board of modern slavery, where the slaver appears to you in different faces and frames, but the eyes reveal that they're all the same. So you go to church on Sunday to pray away that constant companion of poverty, and you feel good. You forget that you must do it again next Monday. But this Sunday, my love, this Sunday you fall in love. You let down your defenses and you tether yourself to someone who will break you in all your senses. Word for word, haphazardly deconstructing your self-worth, blow for blow, inqeba elingapholi. A deep tissue injury caused by the impact of your beloved's actions. You're born and you learn that Steve Bantu Biku uttered that you are either alive and proud or you are dead. And when you are dead, you cannot care anyway. And this sense of defeat is basically all we ever fight against. To develop a hope and to not give in to the hardships of life. To build some kind of structure and to look at our problems and still find a way to build up our humanity and not become undone.
I was born on the top of St. Michael's Hill, in a hospital that overlooks my city. Born in the 80s to the soundtrack of roots reggae that echoed messages of returning to Africa, a motherland that may or may not remember me. Bristol girl born and raised. Handcrafted on the streets of Easton, all I've known was the city and its people. Yet still I have craved elsewhere forever. Some other land beyond the horizon, beyond the ocean's blue, beyond the salt water, beyond the bitter taste in my mouth, before the trauma became housed in my stomach. From African soil to islands in the sun, surrounded by crystal clear water whose beauty betrays the darkness that we were forced to swallow. Places my flesh had not yet met, but soil my soul knew intimately. Ancient memories carried over centuries, alive in my bloodstream. I am from here, but not of here, I told myself regularly. I always yearned for the sun that did not shine here. The fleeting British summertime could not make up for the warmth that I thought I was missing out on. I felt that I had been wronged, that this wasn't my real life, that one day I'd wake up and realize this was all a very strange dream. I was supposed to be living in distant lands, like the ones I read about in the books that my mother would gift me every Christmas time. From my living room, I flew, beyond the pages, beyond the concrete, beyond the tower blocks, beyond the police sirens, into the body of an African girl, molded in villages where elders gathered and imparted wise words to the young, a time before our stories became undone and we were left to wander in the wilderness. I could hear the fire crackling in the distance, tasted the roasted cassava and peanuts washed down with fresh coconut water. I too was chewing sugarcane on the roadside and eating fresh fruit from trees, not stuffing my cheeks with chewits and penny sweets from the corner shop at the bottom of Lansdowne Road where my grandparents lived. I was supposed to be raised anywhere but here, yet still I know nowhere but here. I wanted to flee in pursuit of the pieces of me that would make me make sense. As soon as I could, I took to the skies, heart outstretched across the heavens, hopeful that each journey would bring me closer to me. I was seeking my reflection in someone else's eyes, a long-lost daughter looking for my tribe, praying someone would say, "You are one of us, you come from us." When I was young, we sung biblical songs of exile. By the rivers of Babylon, where we sat down, and there we wept when we remembered Zion. I was born longing for a land I did not know, but the more I wondered, where is my home? To those I encountered, I was from elsewhere, a bit like them, but not quite them, a bit more white. The road taught me that home isn't always a place, and belonging is more of a state, and God makes no mistakes. Therefore, I was born in the right place right here in this city. And when my time on earth is over, and my name is a distant memory, Bristol's soil may cover my body, and my descendants may come here to lay flowers at my feet. Maybe they'll walk these streets in pursuit of my fragrance, seeking pieces of me secreted within the concrete or underneath the elder tree, where elder flowers bloom beautifully here in the springtime. This city is a part of me, and me a part of her. What a journey it has been to come home to myself, finally. Thank you.
Angels are always watching, but mine watched me wilt with wonder in their wings, too holy to swing low or too slow to catch when I fall. I've seen more Messian blades that know directions to my veins. I've seen intervention from demons than I've seen divine. I've also seen my shadows sympathize to the sigh of my sorrows. Ne ke na le 13, la mathomo ke tlhakana le tidimalo, yet filled my room with sirens yang invada monagano ka khawateha from that early age. Moods painted my days, some thought ke stage ka crawler into my cage. Then I found myself praying. I found myself praying to be saved while breath played games with the air. Each inhale a gamble while every exhale a dare. But the angels just stared. They were not even scared, just dared. Yang tebella, trying to understand the tongues my demons spoke. I cried for grace, but grace passed me, left me gasping in gowns, grabbing a hold of gravity, trying to stay afloat while they sang hymns like they were halters for humans. Tied tongues in praise while my lungs learned how to break politely. while my voice it behind my tongue and my own thoughts started to fight me. Ke godisitswe ka tumelo. Tumelo e kobang mapager Bebele in one hand, dikoloto in another, still believing in wings while rent clipped hours each month. Ke wa sho ntlhabise da, tell me, thapelo keng? What's prayer if the stairs to heaven seem to skip your floor? What's prayer if angels take attendance but always ignore the corner you are curled in? You are carved in. I heard that God sends help, but mine came late. When I already started filling my lungs with smoke, it rose to throat till I choked. I've bled belief, read psalms like ransom notes, but still woke with pain pressed in my chest, like a palm that forgot it was supposed to heal. So now when they speak of angels, I ask, winged or winging it? Because the only flight I've ever known was fleeing what I felt and pretending the fall was planned. Thank you.
They say, turn to God in times of hardships. Well, God, sir, turn wrongs, don't make a right, and certainly turn right, don't make a wrong. I know we don't live righteous lives, but don't you think that the young dying young, or mothers burying their young is too harsh? Another one like me was buried last week. Another one like me will be buried next week. He felt the silence is too heavy and took his own life. The young keep burying the young are for violence and death, no, not color. They know not gender. Our sisters die every week at the hands of love, for they believe the sweet lies told by their lovers' eyes. And now week after week in this casket, one of our sisters lies. For violence and death, indulged, no, not color. Here, boys, Pakamisa, Inombolo, 26, 27, 28, Unongolozo, Loyo, except, but CJ, Italian made blue here, bullets decorate our skies here. Bullets decorate our skies. Here, gunshots are lullabies here. Boys, snort gunpowder into manhood here. Waking up is a miracle here. Resurrection doesn't exist here. Murder isn't breaking news. Here, we hold our hearts with both hands every time we hear a gun sound and hope it is a stranger. Another one like me was shot last night. Young Black Bonga lays here tonight. His body is an artwork on exhibition. The artist used bullets to paint Bonga's body bloody. When the paramedics arrived, the Bonga was dancing with the angels. This is yet another story of a black boy dying young. This is another unfinished story. This is another wasted talent. This is another eulogy for a poet. This is another night of listening to a mother cry for her son and her God for his resurrection.
Where I come from, my children are without business partners, like orphans in the investment section, parented by poverty, drugs, and witchcraft, betrayed by the unequal uniform social system. My children hanged with empty tabs and high tags, daily soaked and raped by the new puppets, worshipping tenders and IMF lenders under the parliamentary carpets, targeting service delivery budgets, while the masses eat and sleep with uncollected toilet buckets, forgotten by fellow comrades in higher walls, even though they sacrificed their lives on the front line to free Mandela and the others.
Because with the sunrise comes a utopian light. a promise of dawn, ostensible memory wipe. Where I'm from, we lock the doors as if to keep peril at bay. Yet we let the monsters in through the front door, let them sleep on a ready-made bed. We teach our girls the art of words swallowed instead. Watch and revel as they sip on the camaraderie of heirloom folk tales. Where I'm from, a last name will have you either catching flights or still standing in line. Rose-colored glasses are the mandate. You get used to. Stand by. House in Asariti, I boile handatai. Where I'm from, conformity is a coerced compromise. Where I'm from, shame is used to barricade you. Trade in your untamed for impaling antiquated attitudes. Age dictates that you swallow the blade when they berate and abase you. It will only leave a bitter taste if you don't lower your gaze, prostrate yourself like a poodle. Where I'm from, human rights are debatable. There's simply no luck for the unfavorable.
My ancestors lie in graves made of water. My ancestors lie in graves made of water. No funeral prayers were said. No holy man prayed for the dead. No flowers were cast upon coffins. No families mourned at the graveside, holding each other tight. No condolences, no words, just water. My ancestors lie in graves made of water. Has anyone said a prayer for the unnamed yet? Prayed over their mass grave yet? Released their spirits from the ocean bed so they can fly towards the sky, instead of witnessing heaven's glow from beneath the water? The galaxies dance mockingly to those locked to the bottom of the sea. Or maybe they're at home there, after centuries of existing in liquid, their flesh living forever on the sea floor, their breath in the crashing waves that rush upon the seashore so urgently, like messengers from beyond the grave with a secret to share with the living. Ancestors of mine, what would you like to say? Because I'm listening with my everything. I wonder how it feels to die that way. No ashes to ashes, no dust to dust. The Atlantic is a cemetery for ancient African blood that seeped into the sea, dancing elegantly as it left the bodies of warriors who refused to be slaves and surrendered to those with the devil in their eyes, wielding whips that lashed their black gold skin, punished for no actual sin. Imagine my ancestors lie in graves made of water. I wonder if they tried to swim when their bodies cracked against the ocean's limbs, or if they surrendered to the majesty of the water. Maybe they saw home in the distance, their village, their tribe, their mother's lagoon-like eyes, silently saying everything will be fine. Maybe they reached out their hands to touch all of the above, the type of mirages that appear when you are drowning. Maybe they saw their ancestors in the distance walking on water with outstretched arms, taking them home to an Africa in the spirit realm with drums that play themselves and children that dance but their feet don't touch the ground under a baobab tree that glistens with light from heaven. I wonder if they knew they would die when they jumped, or if they thought the sea was a portal to the sky. Maybe they saw something our eyes couldn't. Maybe they heard a melody that other wounded comrades didn't. Maybe they were not jumping. Maybe they were flying because they saw the face of God in the water. Maybe they were not jumping. Maybe they were flying because they saw the face of God in the water.
Buya Juba. Nakho sekucwila nomkhumbi kaNoor. Ngibona ngokusa bengabiyiwe ngafohla. Imfi iphindwe isibili emehlweni ami ngike ngakuphoxa ngiyayisola. Mina ngikhule kubamba ezingelayo izinhlanzi zamanje zizidlisa santsanyana kwenkomo. Kakade nesimilo siyantengantenga uma kunesimo somnotho. Sithandwa imina lo wakufumbathisa ingunaphakade esandleni sakho sokhohla. Mina nawe siyazi lapha enginempande khona kunesona. Futhi ngiyazi usathukile nami bengingayazi ngiqala ngami inkomo yokuthoma. Waqaqela endodeni ngiyafunga lokho ngamasoka kuyaziqaqa lezi zibobo. Obuya Juba. Nakho sekucwila nomkhumbi kaNoor. Ngibona ngokusa bengabiyiwe ngafohla. Imfi iphindwe isibili emehlweni ami ngike ngakuphoxa ngiyayisola. Mina ngikhule kubamba ezingelayo izinhlanzi zamanje zizidlisa satshanyana kwenkomo. Kakade nesimilo siyantengantenga uma nginesimo somnotho. Ngiyakukhumbula empeleni. Wena kuphela isihluthulelo sala enhlizweni. Ngiyazi mina owanikela ngenjabulo yethu ezitheni. Kepha nalo wayengenasona kamkhandanga ngamanje kuudaba olufanayo lwasematheni. Salusuxola sithandwa sewungibethele ngokwanele unembeza kumanje ngilenge siphambanweni. Sondeza ungenani ingubo ithemba lami liyobuya mhla ngibambelele emphethweni. Obuya Juba. Nakho sekucula nomkhumbi kaNoma. Ngibona ngokusa bengabiyiwe ngafola. Imfiphindi isibili emehlweni ami ngike ngakuphoxa ngiyayisola. Mina ngikhule kubamba ezingelayo izinhlanzi zamanje zizidlisa satshanyana kwenkomo. Kakade nesimilo siyantengantenga uma nginesimo somnotho.
Red, the color of danger, sips from between her thighs. The color of fire, the heat drawing men older than her existence into her presence beautiful, but always before, maybe after, during is a shame, disgust meant to be washed off and hidden at the back of the house 16, and learning now that the sight of blood does not mean death, but a stain on your pretty white shorts might afford you shame. Call that a coming into womanhood. 2. 26, and 4 months married, beaten to a pulp by a man who made away with her at 21, and then again at 25, but this time, when her tummy swelled conspicuous, and from her tongue rolled off his name, they made her marry him. 8 cattle and a feast, ululations auctioning her sanity to aggression, and now, blood like a river flows from between her thighs. The doctor says there's no heartbeat. And so she must return to the village with the emptiness for home. Month after month, she wears her sweaters baggy to hide the loss. If no one sees the emptiness, perhaps happiness will be assumed. And here, blood meant death, meant a loss with nothing to show for it. 3. The man you married pretends he does not know that he made your womb a cemetery. Little hopeful yous have come to sleep the sleep of the dead here, 8 years in. And your womb still won't carry you to term. It says, I'm sorry. Something died in me and now I cannot live. And every dream that comes here is a reminder of how loss made me home, how lost the memory of retaining till attaining is. 4:46. The hot flushes wash over her body in the coldest of seasons. Women her age no longer answer to their first names. Kibo Maneo, Malisego, her childlessness denies her that chance. No one talks to her about her body. It's fight to stay alive. And now the monthly blood does not come. But the pains are as faithful as day, as if to remind her. And here, the absence of blood is a scar. Rape is a scar. Time plays dress up with it, and don't we all look the same? Rape is a scar. And when they ask how far long back, the time to measure insignificance, you say 10 years. And that sorry pat on your back say, get over it. You say 1 year. And the sorry look on their faces say, it'll pass. You say last night. And they unashamedly twist their lips to ask, what were you wearing? Why won't you say his name? What's his side of the story? The woman with her rapist's last name says nothing. And when night comes, her stars fall like a plague, and the moon refuses to share her light.
Abaqali manje ukuduba inyama. Wena ungamayela kusiphi isisu ube uzazi ukhala ngaphansi. Singangenzo enyoni uma kumele siphakele. Kepha izikhathi eziningi sihlala sidlodlobele. Sithwele izimbokodo kwaze kwashintsha imibala. Amantshikezane athwala amakhaya. Namuhla ngikhanda isibopho sezintombi ezephuka ziseyimfalakahlala. Saphuthwa ukuba inala manje ziyimbija. Zaziyokwenze njani sezihanjelwe phambili imikhunta yamadolofini. Izintaba zehluliwe-ke, nani nibonile. Okumilenze emithathu kubazela phezulu kwezimbokotho. Nakuba-ke ziyabhokoda sibonga izintaba ezadilikela kule migogodlo. Kwasachwi izinsizwa mbumbulu zibhodla injini. Kanjani kodwa ukuthula kungasekho? Kanti asindizele yini ukuhelezisa umoya wokuthula okokugcina uthokole ngaphakathi? Ngihlaziya nansi impicabadala yokuthi lezi zintombi zalala ziyizinkulungwane zavuka ziyingcosana. Ziqhwada intshela ukubambisa umoya osudwanguza ubanjwe ngamanzi agcwele amadolo amantwengu-ntwengu ukhothamela isitha zixolisela ubuntshinga. Yibo bonke lobu nakuba-ke ziyimbijana. Izinsimbi zazike zishawe ngokukhala kweqhude lokuza. Ngivukile manje, ngiphuphile. Ngidoncula ubhici kulamaqaphelo ngethuswa ukuba luvindi kangaka ngibe ngiwagobe ngibomvu tebu. Yimi lo osewaba yisithunzi. Shwabula nginjalo ngingambethe. Khunyulwa ngamehlo. Zingehlele zonke izehlo engangizidalele. Akukuhle nokuthi ngidatshukele. Hleze ngingase ngidatshukele unomndindi wami wabusazi. Akudlali phela ukusingathwa yisitha. Sikusitha kuba bonke abangakubona bakulothe. Sinezinhlelo ezingcono kakhulu ngawe. Baba nangu bayena.
Loving me is going to be hard. I know. I am a narrow road with eggshells you're not supposed to step on. I am an open field with too many landmines from a war that I did not fight. I know that I am damaged and I am damaging. Believe me, I do not mean to see my father's face in everything, but if you are going to love me, please, do not make me my mother. Do not come back home late at night drunk begging to sleep with me. I won't know if it is the alcohol speaking or if it is you. Do not have vows with alcohol that you do not have with me. Do not make me jealous of a prized collection of wines that I will never be able to compete with. Please, do not make me my mother. Be home by 9 p.m. every night. Have dinner with me at least 3 times a week, and if you are going to be late, at least text or call. I don't want to wonder where you are or whose woman's bed you're in, or pray that the accident on my Twitter feed isn't you, because I know how recklessly you drive whenever you're drunk. I don't want to have to lie to our children that you went on a business trip, so they won't know their father didn't come back home and their mother has no idea where he is. I don't want to have to call certain scars on my body tattoos so they can learn how to carry the burden better. Please, do not make me my mother. And if you happen to fall in love with someone else, if you happen to spend the night with another woman, please, do not come back home until the scent of her perfume has left your clothes, or until her love bite has faded from your neck. Don't forget to remove her hair from the car seat, or to erase that message of her thanking you for such a wonderful night when we haven't had one in months. I don't want to know about her. I don't want to fight about her. I want to fight about the things that my parents never fought about, like the remote, or who sleeps on the right side of the bed, or who has won a stupid argument. I want my children to say, hey, mom and dad, stop flirting, instead of, hey, mom and dad, stop fighting. So please, do not make me my mother, because she has already loved and buried a man like this, and I have to. Loving me is not going to be easy. I know. I know that I am damaged and I am damaging. Believe me, I do not mean to see my father's face in everything, but if you are going to love me, please, do not make me love a man like this again.
Uma ngiwa ngikhulekela ukuwela ezandleni zakho engizibiza ngekhaya lami. Ungenze umlindo wokuqala phezu kogange ukuzwakalisa umsindo omuhle wecilongo lenjabulo lapho okuhle nomusa kukuvakashela. ukudungeka komqondo ngamachapho engihlotshiswa ngawo emehlweni akho esigodini sethuzi lothando kushiya mina ngidwanguzela kumnyama isibani esinguwe sesingicimele ikloba lomlilo kazukhele elisingethe imfudumalo selishabalele ngaphenduka ukhuno olumantiswe ezinyembezi eziko lomlilo wothando luhle pho bekuyini ngalomoya wakho omuhle ngikhwezelele phezu kwezithembiso zami zokuba nalapho usungifisa uzifisa ukimi umkanye nami ngiyokwaziwa nguwe kuwe ngibe ligugu lekhaya eliyoletha intokozo ngikwaphule nalapho intuthu isixhopha amaqaphelo esehlwithiwe amandla okubona uthando olubhalwe emehlweni ami uma ngiwa ngikhulekela ukwela ezandleni zakho engizibiza ngekhaya lami ungenze umlindo wokuqala phezu kogange ukuzwakalisa umsindo omuhle wecilongo lenjabulo lapho okuhle nomusa kukulandela nalapho lonke lolu ketshezi olusemqondweni ludungeka ezinkondlweni amazwi athambile naso sonke lesi simo angasidambisa ngiyakhunjuzwa ukuba kambe kulesi sigodi ngizifake mina nokuthi kambe lemvula ebingihlambulula ngiyithanda iyona kanye futhi engikwelizisayo incisha mina ithuba elisha lokuphefumula liyashona okanye lidlala usuku olusha ngingasaboni phezu kwezitanza ngiziphelezela ngemlolozelo ethambisa inhliziyo necima yonke lembhalo ebhalwe ngalaka lamagagasi ahlambulula konke lokho kungcola kwabo bonke laba bafika kimi bezofeza izinhloso zabo ngabanye besuka ezindaweni ezingafani kodwa kuwe uma ngiwa ngikhulekela ukwela ezandleni zakho engizibiza ngekhaya lami ungenze umlindo wokuqala phezu kogange ukuzwakalisa umsindo omuhle wecilongo lenjabulo lapho okuhle nomusa kukuvakashela ukhumbule kusayimina usendlala.
I stand between two selves, one clothed in the comfort of what I once mastered, the security of competence, the armor of certainty, and here the fire calls me forward, a river of flame demanding to break its banks, to flow into the vast ocean of the unknown. Here there is no map, only void and expanse, the terrifying beauty of change. It feels like death, and perhaps it is the death of the man I once was, so that something greater might emerge. This is the crossroad of my soul, to remain in the shadows of safety or to step into the blaze of becoming, and I choose the fire.
I remember a night in the Cuban gutters. Deep within the belly of the wretched, the embellished and the outcast laid gutters that measured in margins. Out there played music most liberal in nature, with drums beating with such pounding tenacity. The piano was an absolute menace. It was a festival that distressed outcasts took solace in. It was that blistering blowing of the flute, the dipping deluge of the trumpet, while the enchanting salsa of the tambourine granted the Cuban gutters its flair. Out there, rats delighted in voices that could only be called to resemble butter, and deep within the black of the night, with artistic reverence called to the forefront, the masses acknowledged in song and in dance, in poetry and in ritual. In the dusty night, serenaded by the thundering explosion of a song, I danced to my life's end. And that night, held hostage by impulses that dare defy the laws of gravity, my hips swung in a spiral to the universal song, occasionally glancing at the North Star while pitted fire burned to cuddle my shadow. I sweat in heated, passionate dance. It was in the Cuban gutters where the most degenerate of instruments ganged up in battle while the people led a spiritual, each one speaking love in varying accents, each one acting freedom and dance, and each one nurturing the spirit of community. And while their bodies stay dancing around that fire pit, each one a spirit, ascended, cascaded, and twisted as such the unknown wind of the night. Awakened by prayers threaded in song, the Cuban gutters boasted the song and danced with the efficacy of a Negro spiritual, black to the core as charred feet beckoned the soil. Melanated enzymes reverberated the earth that night.
They say the artist should be a witness, our duty to hold a mirror up to society so it can see its underbelly, witness the darkness, the putrid and the ugly, parts most would rather not see, and we should beckon all to look at their reflection in our mirror, to gaze and regurgitate the state of the collective back to itself, awaken those who prefer slumber and feed them the truth, even if through a tube. I used to believe this. 2. When the time came for me to pick up the pen and be the scribe for my spirit, my only motive was to be authentic, speak the truth so truthfully that everyone would hear it and emerge from their slumber instantly. I used to believe my role was to set my people free and wake up those who looked like me, like the town crier crying, or the church bells ringing, or the quarter prayer wafting upon the wind before sunrise. Why else should I write, if not to recite from rooftops and tower blocks that Babylon is falling, that the empire is crumbling, and this ship is sinking, and we are sinking with it? If my art wasn't part of dismantling the system, then why else was I speaking? 3. The first time I heard Survival, I already knew the words, already knew Bob Marley's melodies, already knew the harmonies of the I Freeze, I already knew these freedom songs, the lyrics tattooed on my tongue, the familiarity washed over me, like remembering a past life, or a time before European sailors threw down their anchors on African shorelines. My aunt said my mother used to listen to these tunes whilst I was afloat in the lagoon of her womb. My resistance began in the realm before flesh. I was burning down Babylon before I took my first breath, born with burning spears in my tiny palms, Peter Tosh tossed between my teeth. There was never a moment when I was not fighting for something. 4. In my opinion, there isn't much difference between an artist and a shaman. Both travel to the spirit realm to bring back messages to the living. In altered states, both navigate the land where dreams are made. The poet uses words to paint pictures of what they have seen. A poet speaks dreams in the language of the soul, so souls know there is a world beyond the horizon, beyond the setting sun, beyond the illusion. Their role is one, to expand inner vision and open portals for mortals to glide through. Artists speak directly to the spirit that sits inside of you, in a language that goes beyond borders, human constructs and man-made ideologies. They pull the curtain of the universe wide open so we can witness the truth for a second. 5. All the warriors inside of me are tired. I see them sitting on the banks of my river, tending to their wounds, rubbing aloes on their scars as ripples dance across the skin of the water. They have been traveling for many lifetimes, nomads who know how to make home everywhere. The fight isn't over, far from it. But for the war to be won, we have to tend to our spirit, because there is a weariness from wandering in the wilderness for so long. The warriors have lain down their armor on the banks of the river so they can enter the water and let the healing begin. 6. They said the role of the artist is to hold a mirror up to society, but I'm starting to disagree. My arms are tired and I'd rather hold a mirror up to me, look into the eyes of my soul and bear witness to the exquisiteness within my own spirit and relish in it. Or else, my entire existence as an artist is to write verses in response to whiteness, and I gracefully decline this. My poetry is a piece of me, slivers of my heart served on a silver platter for all who wish to feast with me. I have never been one to make art to appeal to the white gaze, to eloquently articulate my pain into palatable verses, never packaged my trauma into bite-sized pieces, never sold my art as a commodity to be consumed over afternoon tea. Truthfully, I make art for me, because here I hear my spirit speak back to me. 7. The responsibility of the artist is to be so committed to their craft that their art can shift the earth off its axis, and that's it.